when Higround and 100 Thieves came together, everybody questioned, was this just a money grab or could it be something more? Well, I think this new Summit 65 is something more. Let's take a look. All right, so they sent two keyboards out to me. One is the Cartograph. This one is similar to their older one, just in a different colorway. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on it. It's just red, it's got the blue and it's got the white. It's a pretty sexy keyboard. Really reminds me of like a Leopold keyboard when I first grabbed one of those. Very solid feeling plastic keyboard. Great if you want something lightweight, it's 65%. If you guys wanna see the full review of that, just go and check out the Attack on Titan collaboration video, which I'll link below. Today though, I wanna focus on their breadwinner, which is this Summit 65, which is their jump into the mid-range custom keyboard market. You can tell they're really trying to make a more premium experience because everything they put into this is higher quality than their original keyboards, whether that's the keycap or switch puller that's in the box. It would be dope if they did add a coiled 100 Thieves coiled cable in here as well, especially for the asking price that they're doing, which is $290 for this bad boy, which we will determine at the end of this video if it's worth it or not. So let's take a look at what you're getting with the actual keyboard itself, which is some die-sub PBT keycaps, which are very durable. They're smooth to the touch, barely any roughness. They do feel pretty high quality. They have a lot of branding on it though. The 100 Thieves on the tab. The space bar has 100 Thieves and Higround. It's got the Higround on the delete key, the mountain. There's just a lot of branding on this one. Maybe in the future I'd love to see them tone it back or add in some extra keycaps that get rid of this. I know people want to rep their favorite brand, but it's always nice to have that option if you do want to go for a clean and minimal look, because I really like their geo or typography type designs that they've been doing, and I would love to just rock this, but I'm not a big branding type of person. Now when compared to a GMK keycap, these are a higher profile, so if you do put it on here, you're going to lose some height when you're typing. And if you do want to replace these keycaps, they do have a smaller alt function and control at 1U for each of those on the right hand side, so you will need to find a keycap set that has those keycaps in it. And of course they have the lettering and writing on the underside of the keycap, keeping the top nice and clean. Well, outside of the branding, which, you know, I wish they could put that underneath as well. Something to think about. The case itself is slanted from the front end of the keyboard all the way to the back. It has a nice angled design on it. It's personally not my favorite, but it is a departure from the typical square cases, which does make this unique. They also have some RGB lights towards the back, which will fire down onto your desk and give you a nice aura. The case will still show some RGB through it, which, you know, I'm not a huge fan of. Maybe I just need to tighten it a little bit more, but I think I have the screws all the way tight in there and it's still kind of peeking out through the sides, which not as clean as I would like. Flipping the keyboard over, you'll see the Summit weight in gold. That gives the keyboard a nice weight of 1,400 grams, which is about the same size as a Space 65 keyboard. So the weight is pretty nice on this. One thing I don't like about this keyboard is that they have 4 huge screws on the bottom. It's not aesthetically pleasing and it takes away from the overall beauty of the bottom. I know they want to make sure this case is secure, but it doesn't do it for me. I guess a nice part of it is you'll never see it because it's going to be on your desk. And also another benefit is that there's only 4 screws, so taking this apart to mod it is super simple. You just take off those 4 screws and then pull out the top slides towards you, and that's it. I've actually never seen a build like this personally, where the top case has these little hooks that go onto the back of the case and then the top slides on rather than putting it straight down, which is actually pretty nice if you're a beginning builder. Now once you take all that out, between the aluminum plate and the PCB, there is some foam there to soak up unwanted sound and reverberations from the case. Then there's also another piece of foam in the bottom of the case as well. So they've done their due diligence on that part of the build. One thing Higround has done is that they've put Duroc V2 stabilizers into this case. Now if you don't know, these are some of the best stabilizers out of the box that you can buy. Now they did pre-lube them and it's okay. A lot of inconsistency here. The delete key, I love the delete key. The enter and the shift key are okay, and then the space bar is just all over the place. It's unbalanced. On one side it rattles, and the other side it feels okay. So maybe some more uniformity with their machining and actually putting together these keyboards, but I will give them props. They did try, and there are Duroc stabilizers already in here, so you don't have to go out and buy another set. And since they didn't lube it to hell, you actually get a chance to tune it to the way you want it rather than it being too slow or too fast with none at all. So it's kind of like they're easing you into it if you do want to mod it. If not, you know, you have Duroc stabilizers. You can say that at least. They've also got some geo switches in here that are pretty sexy to look at. It's got the typography type thing design all over it, which is nice. They said these are preludes, so I want to take them apart, and I found that they have this elongated spring. It's a long spring. Now what this gives you is a snappier spring back. When you press down, the key is going to pop right back up. This also shortens the time between actuation and bottom out as well. So I can see why they went with a elongated spring here, and the switches, they feel pretty good. So when I rub my finger on the stem, there is a little bit of lube there that I can feel. It's not a lot. It's not like a pro lube job. It's just a little bit, just to get you going, you know. And if you want to add more, they're giving you enough room so you can do that. They're not just putting a ton of lube into these things and hoping that you guys like it. Maybe the springs are too slow or the switches are too slow. They just leave it so it's good enough as is, but you can do more to make them perfect. Now this is also a gasket mounted keyboard, which is the it thing right now. And if you don't know, that is where these pieces of foam are on the plate, and then that plate sits down into the case. This is great because it allows your keyboard a lot of flex and a nice cushion bottom out. More on that later after the sound test, which we are going to drop right about now. So what did you guys think? I think it's verging on thocky, especially with this aluminum plate. It gives it more of a neutral sound, not super thocky like you would get on a polycarbonate plate. It's just good enough. Now, one thing I did notice when I was typing on it is there's not a lot of flex on it, especially for a gasket mount. Like, I would expect way more than this. Like, their normal keyboard, like the Attack on Titan or their Cartograph one, has way more flex in this, and at $290 gasket mount, I would expect a lot more from this. Like, this thing is stiff. It feels like I'm on on like a bottom tray mount type of case, not a gasket mount. So on the gasket mount side, not the best. Could use some work, but again, this is their first gasket mounted keyboard. So there is apparently some software, but it didn't work for this keyboard. I think they're still developing it maybe, but it works for the other keyboards that they have. But on this one, you can use the function key to do a lot of your changing of the RGB and a lot of the macro stuff on here as well. And I'd say the RGB looks pretty damn good on this keyboard. Definitely get your fingers glowing on here. But again, software like VIA software and stuff like that, it's just so nice because, you know, you can just drag and drop everything, minimal effort to use it. So one thing I would love to see them do is maybe make this available for VIA software or some kind of firmware they can update, or, you know, if they can make their software lightweight enough, that would be great. So do I think this keyboard is worth $290? I think it's more worth, like, I mean, I hate to nickel and dime, but maybe the $200 to $250 range for the keyboard, and then that extra $40 to $90 is coming from that like 100 Thieves tax. You know how it goes. But who am I kidding? These things are still going to sell. And you know, for the people that love Higround, they love 100 Thieves, they love the look of this keyboard, I don't see anything wrong with spending $290 on this. You know, you're getting everything you need out of the box, especially if you don't know what to get. You're looking for something new, go right ahead. But for the enthusiasts, for the keyboard enthusiasts, there's really nothing new here that we haven't seen before, and you'll probably be disappointed. It almost reminds me of the high profile case Drop Alt, just better and an updated version with better switches, better keycaps. So there you have it. That's what this keyboard is. So if you're interested in this keyboard, I'm going to drop a link down below. I know they're sold out right now, but hopefully they come back in stock. I highly doubt that this is the last time we're going to see a CNC aluminum case from Higround, but I want to give them some feedback so that they can make their keyboards better using some of the things that I said earlier in this video. All right, it has been your boy BT. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next one.